Alright, continuing with the hunger strike. It's day 9 of fasting slash reduced calorie hunger strike. I usually do at least an 18-19 hour fast every day now, and even the 5 or 6 hours that I'm eating, I try to keep it in the 3-digit range in terms of calories. And don't necessarily always feel good, but I feel good thinking about the end result of it. The end result is that my family's going to be concerned, and then we can finally sit down and talk objectively about my future goals and my plans for the future. My family wants me to get married, have children. I have slightly different plans than that. And my family refuses to listen to me. And for many years I let that slide, but my grandparents are getting old, and this may be our last chance to allow my grandparents to witness us reconciling on this matter. And I really hope we have Mother's Day in 2 weeks. I'm hoping to make some headway in that negotiation over the next 2 weeks. Now, I want to, the other reason I want to do this hunger strike is I want to be more conscious about what I'm eating. I think a lot of Americans behave very subconsciously and sometimes get very defensive when they do. So, I live in East Side Seattle. We have Lake Washington to our west. And earlier today, I got into a shouting match. Fortunately, it's a very sunny day, so I wasn't concerned about my safety or anything. But I watched some guy feeding bread to some birds, and I didn't think that was healthy for the birds, and I pointed it out to him, and he got very defensive, and he started screaming, and he told me who he was, and he said I could look him up. He you know, that goose belongs to him, something like that. Obviously, was nonsense. I think he clearly doesn't derive any benefit from feeding the birds. I mean, but he does it out of habit, and he gets defensive about somebody pointing out his habit, even though he could take just 10 seconds to do some reading about that. Not the best thing in the world to be doing. And so, unfortunately, okay, it's one thing to shout, and I let him crash and burn because he embarrassed himself. That's fine with me. It's broad daylight. I didn't feel like my safety was in jeopardy or anything. If it were 2 in the morning and the two of us were alone, that would be a different story. Probably wouldn't do it at that point. But I love educating people, and he doesn't take the education in today. I would hope someday he would actually sit down and read about it, right? It doesn't have to be immediate, some of these pointers that I give. But I feel it's the responsible thing to do, even if I have to hear him crash and burn. That's fine with me. But what's even more sad is when people behave subconsciously to their own bodies, their own health. So about a year ago, we were talking about this pharmaceutical product that people are taking without even thinking about it, right? If they did a little bit more reading into it, they might behave a little differently. But whatever the event, we were talking about how Americans were taking 3 doses of this stuff when the rest of the world doesn't even have 1 dose to take. Even if you believe it's a good thing to take, right? Americans are taking 3 doses when the rest of the world doesn't even have 1 dose to take. That kind of reminds me of how we handle our food. Except we actually do need the food. And people don't see the disconnect there. For whatever reason. Stop and think. Think. Right? Stop just behaving. Actually think. That's what drives me nuts. And sometimes open your ears and listen, right? The whole reason I'm going in this hunger strike is that some of the people near and dear to me don't want to spend just 10 minutes listening to what's going on, right? Aside from my family, I also have some problems with my work. My manager and my colleagues beat at different wavelengths than I do. And they don't seem to understand what's near and dear to me. I would hope that after 2 more weeks, after another 10 pounds that I've lost, and they're concerned for me, Andrew, are you okay? Why don't we sit down and talk? And that's when we can talk about, back in April, I tried to take a week away, but I didn't hear about the scheduling until each day, and I like that we're able to tend to all of our clients. Let's see if there's a better way to handle this so that I can recharge and be my best, right? Unfortunately, my boss doesn't have the capacity to listen to that, right? There's no way I could say those 2 sentences without his mouth exploding. And that's what all this hunger strike is all about, right? To get people to open their ears and listen to just 2 minutes, right? If my mom would listen to 2 minutes, Mom, Dad, I'm single, but I love it. I scored a 242 in bowling. I wrote a number of computer games. I've networked with all these people. And, I tried dating a number of times. And even though I love connecting with new people and new opportunities, I moved on. See, unfortunately, there's no way my mom can listen to that without her mouth exploding. I can't even say that because as I'm saying it, I'm worried about her mouth exploding, that it doesn't even come out right. Okay, I can't talk about this anymore because I'm so angry that I just want to sit down and talk. I'm not angry at these people. I just want to sit down and have a dialogue, I'm not mad at my boss. I love that we can tend to these clients, but I think we can tend to them even better if we just had that 5-minute conversation in peace. And I wish I didn't have to go through a hunger strike. Believe me, it's not especially pleasant, and I might have to take my ashes to Wallace, Idaho. As a reminder, if something happens to me, I want my ashes to go to Wallace, Idaho. And it's a little bit extreme, but unfortunately, all the other peaceful methods have failed. Anyway, day 9 now.